What if I told you that this region in the US is simultaneously one of the most densely populated and also its most heavily forested? Or that one of its mountains held the world record for the fastest wind speed ever measured on Earth? From 240,000 miles of stone walls hidden in the woods, to a major city built almost entirely on a disappearing sandbar, this region's geography is not what you think. Here are 15 amazing geography facts you never knew about New England. The summit of Mount Washington in New Hampshire is a true force of nature, earning its famous slogan, "Home of the world's worst weather." Its geographic position at the convergence of major storm tracks, combined with its 6,288-foot prominence, creates a funnel for extreme weather. For over 60 years, it held the world record for the fastest wind gust ever recorded on Earth's surface, an incredible 231-mile-per-hour gust observed on April 12, 1934. This record, now second only to one from a tropical cyclone, still stands as the fastest wind ever recorded in the northern hemisphere. The peak's alpine tundra climate is more like that of northern Labrador or Greenland than the temperate forest below, with hurricane-force winds blowing over 100 days a year. Cape Cod, the iconic arm-shaped peninsula of Massachusetts, is not solid bedrock. It's a massive, geologically young landform created by the last ice age. As the immense Laurentide ice sheet retreated around 20,000 years ago, it acted like a plow, pushing and dumping incomprehensible amounts of rock, sand, and silt. This pile of glacial debris is known as a terminal moraine. The rest of the cape is an outwash plain formed by meltwater streams carrying finer sediments away from the melting glacier. This means the entire cape is essentially a massive sandbar. Geologically, it's a temporary feature. The high cliffs on its Atlantic side are eroding at an average rate of 3 feet per year, constantly reshaping the land. Maine has a famously jagged and irregular coastline. If measured in a straight line, it would only be about 228 miles long. However, if you include every bay, inlet, and tidal creek, its tidal coastline measures an astonishing 3,478 miles, longer than California's. This intricate shape is a result of its glacial past. During the last ice age, massive glaciers carved deep river valleys into the land. When the glaciers melted, global sea levels rose dramatically. The Atlantic Ocean then flooded, or drowned, these pre-carved valleys. This type of coastline is known as a ria coast, and it's responsible for thousands of rocky islands, deep bays, and protected harbors that define Maine's geography and maritime culture. Vermont is the only New England state with no Atlantic coastline, yet its official state marine fossil is a beluga whale. This incredible paradox is explained by the Champlain Sea. At the end of the last ice age, around 13,000 years ago, the Laurentide ice sheet was so heavy it physically depressed the Earth's crust. As the glacier retreated, the land was so low that the Atlantic Ocean flooded the St. Lawrence and Champlain valleys. This created a vast, temporary inland sea. In 1849, rail workers in Charlotte, Vermont, discovered the bones of the beluga whale buried in clay, 10 feet below the surface and over 150 miles from the modern ocean. The bedrock of New England is not original to North America. Geologically, the region is a patchwork of exotic terrains, fragments of continents and ancient volcanic islands that were once part of other landmasses, including parts of modern-day Europe and Africa. These terrains drifted and collided with the North American plate over hundreds of millions of years, particularly during the formation of the supercontinent Pangaea. The Appalachian Mountains are the ancient, eroded remnants of this massive continental collision. This complex geologic history is why New England's bedrock is so different from the rest of the continent, and why it's so rich in metamorphic rocks like gneiss, schist, and marble. The dense forests of New England are crisscrossed by an estimated 240,000 miles of stone walls. These walls are not ancient boundaries, but rather a signature of New England's agricultural history, specifically between 1775 and 1825. When European settlers cleared the land for farming, they encountered a crop that they never expected: millions of rocks and boulders, known as glacial erratics, left behind by the last ice age. To clear their fields for plowing and to build fences for livestock, farmers painstakingly hauled these stones to the edges of their property. Today, as the forests have reclaimed the abandoned farmland, these walls stand as a rugged, enduring monument to the region's agricultural past. A surprising amount of modern Boston is not original land. The city's famous neighborhoods, including the Back Bay, the South End, and Logan Airport, are built on man-made land. The original city was on a tiny, hilly landmass called the Willamette Peninsula, connected to the mainland by a thin strip of land. Starting in the 19th century, the city undertook one of the largest landfill projects in history. They filled in tidal flats, marshes, and parts of the harbor to create new, valuable real estate. The Back Bay, once a foul-smelling tidal marsh, was filled using gravel brought in by train from towns almost 10 miles away. This massive engineering project more than doubled the size of the original peninsula and permanently altered Boston's geography. The American Industrial Revolution began in New England for a specific geographic reason: water power. The region's rivers, like the Merrimack, Blackstone, and Connecticut, are typically short, steep, and fast-moving. While this made them unsuitable for large-scale navigation seen on rivers like the Mississippi, their fall line, the point where they drop from the harder inland rock to the coastal plain, was perfect for powering water wheels. Entrepreneurs built massive textile mills and factories directly on these rivers, harnessing their energy. Cities like Lowell, Massachusetts, Manchester, New Hampshire, and Pawtucket, Rhode Island, exploded in size, all built around the power of the region's unique river geography. The Great New England Hurricane of 1938 was a fast-moving, unforecasted Category 3 storm that slammed into Long Island and New England. Its geographic impact was permanent. The storm hit at a high tide with a storm surge of 14 to 18 feet, destroying thousands of homes and killing nearly 700 people. Geographically, the surge was powerful enough to permanently alter the coastline. It cut 10 new inlets in Long Island's barrier islands, most notably the Shinnecock Inlet, which remains open to this day. It washed away sections of the coast of Rhode Island and Cape Cod, destroyed millions of trees across New England, and caused catastrophic river flooding, demonstrating the awesome power of New England weather in a single event. The border between Maine and Canada was not finalized until 1842, and the dispute over it led to the Aroostook War. This 1838 conflict was a tense, but mostly bloodless, military standoff between the US and Great Britain. The dispute was purely about geography, control of the St. John River Valley. The original 1783 treaty was ambiguous about the highlands that was supposed to define the border. Both sides claimed the fertile valley and its incredibly valuable timber resources. Maine sent a militia to arrest Canadian loggers, and tensions escalated to the brink of full-scale war. Diplomats stepped in, and the Webster-Ashburton Treaty was signed, splitting the territory and establishing the permanent border we know today. New England is one of the most densely populated regions in the United States, but it's also one of the most heavily forested. This is the region's great paradox. Maine, at 89% forested, and New Hampshire, at 84% forested, are the two most forested states in the entire country, with Vermont and Massachusetts not far behind. So how is this possible? The answer is in its human geography. First, the 19th century farmland was abandoned as agriculture moved west, and the forests naturally reclaimed the land. Second, New England's population is not evenly spread out. It is overwhelmingly clustered in dense urban corridors, especially along the coast from Boston down to southern Connecticut, leaving vast inland areas almost entirely forested and sparsely populated. In most of the United States, the county is the primary unit of local government, but New England is different. The fundamental political and geographic unit is the town. This tradition of town meeting government, where local citizens gather to vote directly on budgets and laws, dates back to the colonial era. This system creates a uniquely fragmented and hyper-local political landscape. In states like Connecticut and Rhode Island, county governments have been completely abolished, existing only as lines on a map. In Massachusetts, they've been mostly eliminated. All real power over schools, roads, and local law enforcement resides at the town level, making New England's political geography distinct from any other region in the country. New England's human geography is inextricably linked to a specific tree. the sugar maple. This tree thrives in the region's specific climate of cold nights and warming days in late winter, which causes the sap to run. As a result, New England dominates America's maple syrup production. Vermont, in particular, is the undisputed king, producing over 3.1 million gallons in 2024. This accounts for over 50% of all maple syrup made in the United States. This liquid gold is not just a food product, it's a critical part of the rural economy, a pillar of cultural identity, and a major driver of tourism, all stemming from the region's unique physical geography. While Boston is a major metropolis, New England's other state capitals reflect its historic, decentralized geography. The smallest of all is Montpelier, Vermont. With a population of just 8,000 people, Montpelier is the smallest state capital in the United States by population. And in fact, it's the only state capital without a McDonald's. Augusta, Maine, around 18,000 people, and Concord, New Hampshire, around 43,000 people, are also among the smallest in the country. This is a direct result of a historic geography where political power was not centralized in one large city, but was distributed among the many small independent towns. So the capital was often just a small, convenient meeting point. A defining feature of modern New England is its economy is built on higher education. The region has the highest concentration of colleges and universities per capita in the US, from small liberal arts colleges to world-renowned research institutions like Harvard and MIT. In many New England towns, the local college is the largest employer. This industry is a massive economic engine, drawing tens of billions of dollars and a huge international and domestic population to the region. This influx of students, researchers, and faculty shapes the area's demographics, drives its high-tech and biotech economies, and defines the cultural landscape of cities like Boston and Cambridge in a way no traditional industry ever could. New England is the original and most prominent cultural region of the United States. And while each state in New England is its own autonomous unit, the overwhelming bond between them can't be ignored. Someday, each of these states will get their own 15 facts video, but I had to start with them as a whole region. This week, I'm heading to southern Armenia to explore its bizarre borderlands region with neighboring Turkey and Azerbaijan, two countries Armenia doesn't get along with. And if you're interested in seeing what that area is like, come join me over on my travel channel. I hope you enjoyed learning all about New England. If you did, be sure to check out this video with 15 amazing facts all about Korea. Thanks for watching. See you next time.